Okay, so here we are back in the Republic of Rome. I just finished the forum phase for this turn. One thing to note, a lot of governorships showing up, but we're in the second deck now, which means time has passed. We got some new cards out there. Hannibal's shown up here. He and Hamilcar are just basically waiting to die or for a card to match. I should be checking to see if they die right now, actually. Hannibal. Oh. What about destroyed concessions? Yeah, let's get checked too. Alright. We had some events. Storm at Sea decimated the Roman fleet again. Evil Omens may not be the best turn to fight, but there's only this one war out there. It's causing a drought. I think that Rome wants to do that. Wants to actually fight. People have played games and reduced unrest down to 3. This was part of the insistence of making Terentius consul, was that he agreed to do that. The Evil Omens took a lot of money away from the Pontifex Maximus, which is reducing the chances of good old Scipio being declared consul for life. They may not want to do it this turn. We have to roll the popularity right now. It's got a 2-point penalty on it. He's got 2 popularity. Unrest is 3. That would normally be a 1, but 1 more for the Omens. 7, 9 goes down to 7. That's 3 unrest and a manpower shortage. Rome isn't going to need to raise armies, and they have enough fleets as well to prosecute this war, so that doesn't really hurt them much at all. Alright, it's on to the Senate, and I have no idea, because no deals have been cut yet. We're not in that kind of emergency situation where everybody's scrambling. We may see a prosecution, not against him obviously, but his little buddy Fulvius was a corrupt governor, and he may be prosecuted for that. I don't know what else. So the senatorial deals were kind of interesting. This guy had the Rome Council, and he forged an alliance with the 2 biggest parties. Over here under the new Rome Council, Cato the Elder, and our military field council, Flaminius, who the plan was to send him forward. One of the deals that they cut was Terentius becomes censor, and they prosecute the crap out of the lower valued leaders that are assigned with Africanus's faction. It's really the Valerian faction. Both were prosecuted successfully, and you see they both have negative popularity now. Now he's still Pontifex Maximus, but you know that's a harder thing to remove. It takes a 2/3 vote, and they don't really see much harm in leaving him in it. He's going to die in that office before he collects any income, so it's no harm. Even though there was an Evil Omens, and he's somewhat considered responsible for it. His handling was censored, that's all. Okay, after that came dealing with the governorships. And everybody more or less agreed, let's ship Scipio out to Spain. Get rid of him for 3 turns. Maybe he'll die, maybe something will happen, who knows. Not our problem. He'll certainly be a lot older by then. Now, the problem here is he had no tribune. He could have tribuned in and tried to make himself consul for life. Probably wouldn't have succeeded. He didn't have as much cash as he would have when he had Valerius there. But he could have forced at least some penalty for it. But he just didn't have the card. In 3 turns he might. Then the voting blocks were set in such a way that the 2 consuls actually control the entire government. So they said, hey, let's split up the rest of the governorships amongst the weak guys. So Sulpicius got sent to nearer Spain, Fabius to Sardinia, and Acilius to Cisalpine Gaul. Now, that's kind of a dicky move, and in a way, everything's kind of reset now. This guy, they feel he's paid sort of his price. This guy's feeling a lot less generous towards Rome in general, because there was sort of a feeling that the agreement would come down to the two major factions each taking one of the governorships and something going somewhere else. That didn't happen, though. They wanted to maintain their power, and they're going to try to drive the other powers out and then just fight amongst each other. Now, how well that works is hard to tell. But Flaminius got sent off with an army, and that should be about a plus 14 total, maybe plus 13 with the evil omens, I'm not sure. And that's it. Let's see what happens. We have 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 4 is 19, minus 5 is 14, minus 1 for the evil omens is 13. We roll a 12, which is not a bad number. Plus 13 is a victory. So this battle's just been defeated. This is going to create Illyricum. Yet another place to banish unwanted senators. And 10 to here. It gives a big 3 popularity and 3 influence over to Flaminius. And now he's got, the decision as always, but he doesn't have much of an army, so he's going to send it back as well. And one of these is going to convert to an elite legion. I'll do card play and maybe come back. So here we're going into the Senate phase of the next turn. The only kind of exciting thing, we got another senator here, Glauca. Way before his time, essentially, but his only real effect is if he makes a popular appeal, he gets more dice than normal, so he's more likely to be freed. It's not really terribly valuable. How do you, he's not exactly the kind of person who's going to come out with a lot of influence and be a target or anything like that under most conditions, but we'll see. So we're entering the population phase, and the Roman Council, good old Cato, did not believe that trying to throw games or anything was a good idea. Other people did. We got Terentius and Aelius both increased their popularity by throwing games and helped a little bit. But right now we have a -3 to the table. And we had a drought, which caused part of that. But we get a nice high roll. Ends up in 11, that's no change. So that's not too bad. We have a new war, a Macedonian war again. Very, very light one. Pretty much anybody could go pursue this. It's not a bother to Rome. Let's see, Hannibal. Okay, Hannibal's dead. And we got a concession. Okay. One thing that's interesting, we're getting barbarian raids here. On the next revenue phase, the frontier provinces are going to be raided. Those are the ones with these underlines on them. If they roll less than a 15, they get an overrun. And then all the revenue is lost. I believe it's flipped over. It can't do an improvement die roll for that turn. And its force is going to be its base plus its garrisons times 2 plus a provincial army plus the governor's military rating. So having people with good military ratings makes it easier. There is a chance that if there's losses from one of these, that they end up dying trying to defend against the barbarian raids. We'll see how that turns out. The Senate may wish to commit some forces to the governorships. Then again, they may not. They may not care about those governors or the property, but more importantly, it's the actual senator and the faction that owns it that's going to determine who gets real garrisons and who doesn't. But this is why you want to build up the armies. So, like, further Spain is very weak. Scipio may be in trouble. So the senatorial phase went a little bit differently from last time. Instead of that alliance between the two strongest, this guy had Rome Council in Cato's hands, and he managed to cut a deal. He couldn't get this guy to agree to a deal. This guy's just being such a dick throughout the whole game. But he did get the Fabian and Sicilian factions to agree to one, where the consuls were split between them. He would get the censor, and the Pontifex Maximus would go over to Terentius. Pontifex Maximus is kind of cool because it's not going to improve your position at all. You just sort of stay there for the rest of time, and he's kind of old. The only problem is he has decent popularity. He might have made a good choice for a Roman consul at some point. They also split up the concessions and sent exiled poor Flaminius off to Illyricum, which is of course under attack, which could strip him of another leader. I looked at the attack. The only person on the coalition who's could be attacked is over here in Cisalpine Gaul, Acilius. It doesn't. I think a 2 is the only thing that would fail for him. He's got enough forces, enough leadership, etc. And that's probably the case across the board, but sometimes something gets hit with these. So then a force was rallied together raised for the Macedonian War. And we have 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 legions. Brings us to 20. We're at plus 15. We get a 15, which means it's a victory. That's 30 talons for Rome. And he's going to get 3 each popularity and influence. He's not going to revolt. He doesn't have anywhere near the army. And the victory is going to create Greece. Another fun province for us. And as these become improved, they actually begin to add to Rome's cash flow. So we're seeing Rome actually has a decent amount of money, not just from the wars, but also from those provinces. All right, I'll see if anything exciting happens on the red phase. If not, this is loading up.